You are listening to Christian Audio's production of Anchored, Finding Hope in the Unexpected by Kayla Aimee. This book is read by Kayla Aimee. This audio recording was produced in 2015 by Christian Audio, which owns the copyright. No portion of this recording may be reproduced for any reason without prior written consent from Christian Audio. This edition issued by contractual arrangement with B&H Publishing Group. Originally published in English as Anchored, Finding Hope in the Unexpected. Copyright 2015 by Kayla Aimee. All rights reserved. Please visit christianaudio.com, facebook.com/christianaudio, or twitter.com/christianaudio to offer your impressions of this work and to explore additional titles. To Scarlett, who gave me a greater story. In honor of Maylani Rose Hadley. Forward. I cry every time I read birth stories, even the stories of total strangers. I'll be sitting in a Panera eating baked potato soup and trying to unobtrusively wipe away my trails of mascara because I can't take my eyes off the achingly beautiful descriptions of how life comes into the world. Life, wildly raging, batteringly beautiful, frighteningly fragile life. There's this impossible ache that registers just below the heart when we read birth stories. I think it's because they're this living, breathing testimony to heaven bending down toward earth, and earth standing up on its tiptoes to receive a new life so fresh from the passing of God's hands to ours. It never gets old. This miracle is how God wrapped himself up in the human form, and we get to celebrate afresh every time we unwrap the echo of heaven in a new baby. I'm constantly astounded by the fact that we consider motherhood ordinary, when it's outrageous in its courage, when it, quite literally, bleeds life from the giver, bleeds prayers and tears and blessings and terrible holy faith, when it opens our eyes to the majesty of a world we have no control over, reminding us how vulnerable we are and how parenting is this living, breathing parable of surrendering control to the God who had the whole world in his hands all along. We just hadn't stopped to notice until we became mothers and discovered that most of what happens to our kids and our own bodies is entirely outside our control. So if regular birth stories make me cry, Kayla Aimee's micro-preemie birth story made me bawl. I pretty much ugly cried my way through the whole book, starting with this sentence. My daughter was born, and she weighed less than 6 sticks of butter. I cried and was reminded all over again of the righteous courage of mothers, of the awe and the wonder that those of us who have brought babies into the world feel, and the terrifying truth of what we will sacrifice to keep them with us. Scarlett needed blood continuously, and the minute they told me she would require a transfusion, I wanted to cut open a vein and give her all of it, every bit of life that coursed through me. I was humbled by Kayla Aimee's story, because there's so much I realize I took for granted when I had my own 3 kids. Because hers is a birth story that came 15 weeks early. It's a story that reminds us there is no such thing as ordinary or boring when it comes to motherhood. Instead, the whole realm of sleeplessness and nursing and changing diapers and breathing that we take for granted are so much holy ground, especially when viewed from inside of the NICU. I felt speechless reading it and at the same time wanted to write a whole book chronicling all the lessons Kayla Aimee's story taught me. Lessons about faith and how as long as God is faithful, our own faith doesn't need to always hold firm, because his always will. This anchor that holds the soul steadfast and sure while the billows roll. It's a remarkable story, like her remarkable daughter. I want to meet Scarlett so that I can kneel down to look into her beautiful, brave eyes and tell her that her mother is one of my heroes, because she did what moms do. She kept showing up. She spoke up for her daughter. She studied. She stepped outside her comfort zone. She questioned and listened and overcame her own fears in order to stand up for her daughter. Isn't this the whole legacy of motherhood? This painful breaking up with ourselves and our own wants and needs in order to be able to fully love someone else. And discovering in the midst of it, beneath all that exhaustion and all those diapers, the parable of a God who invites us into the hard truth of living self-sacrifice. It makes me want to take gifts to the NICU at our local hospital. It makes me want to be brave enough to
Sample complete. Ready to continue?